Hello and welcome to our second video in our website building tutorial series. Now, last video we looked at basic HTML files and we learnt that we can use a text editor like Notepad++ to build very simple websites using our special HTML tags. What we ended up with was a pretty basic looking website with a couple of headings and some content underneath those headings. Today we're going to take that a little bit further and we're going to look at a few extra tags that we can use to make our websites look a little bit nicer for our users. Now, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to come down here, go Start. Yours will be called My Computer, and I want you to navigate to your H drive. Now mine's up here, and inside our websites folder that we created last video, okay, we have our index file, and just drag that over to the side. We'll need that later. Then I want you to come down the bottom here, type in Notepad, and just like last time, I want you to open Notepad++. Now, sometimes Notepad++ will automatically open the last file you had open, which was our index file. Okay, if it does that, fantastic, just hit the X here and it will close it for you. We're going to create a whole new file. So we're going to go File, New, and then we're going to go Save As, and in our H drive, and in our websites folder, we're going to call this one, let's just call it Video 2. And remember that .html at the end, so our computer knows this is a website file. And hit Save, and you'll see it pops up there straight away. Now, I'm going to quickly run through what we did last week, so you can copy along. The first thing we need to do is we need to declare our document as a HTML file. We do that with the $! Exclamation mark, doc type, space HTML, and we close that with another, with a greater than sign, and that's done. Now we put in all those mandatory tags that we needed. So we need our HTML tag. If we've opened our HTML tag, we need to close it afterwards. Then we need our head tag, and we need to close our head tag. And inside our head, we're going to have our title, and I'm going to call this All About Mr. O'Neill. Now today we're going to create a website that's going to share a bit of information about ourselves. So I want you to make your title something to do with, or whatever you would call a website, it's going to be about you. So mine's going to be called All About Mr. O'Neill, and I'm going to close my title tag there. After head, we need our body. I'm just going to create my body tag now, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to close my body tag so I don't forget about it later. I can just delete these lines here. Now, last video we learnt to use headings. So I'm going to create a quick heading here, a nice big one. I'm going to call this Mr. O'Neill because this website is all about me. I'm going to make sure I close my header tag. Okay, and then underneath I'm going to create a paragraph. Now you might remember the paragraph tag is just a P. I'm going to come down here, I'm going to close my paragraph tag so I don't forget, and then I'm going to come here and write some information. Now, I'm just going to quickly put a couple of sentences in, so I'm going to write Mr. O'Neill is a teacher at St. Bernard's Primary School in Batemans Bay. And then I'm going to press enter, start a new line, and I'm going to write Mr. O'Neill teaches Year 6. His class is 6-0. And I'm going to hit full stop. Now, so far I have a pretty basic website, and if we come up here and we hit save, and we actually double click on our Video 2 file, we're going to see that it doesn't look very fancy. And what you'll notice is that my paragraph over here, even though I've put it on a new line, I can even put a space in here and hit save again. Let's save as, just normal size save. Even though I've put a line here, if I refresh it, nothing happens. And that's something that you need to remember about our paragraph tags, is that they don't actually represent what you put here. They put all the text between those two tags as one big long line. And sometimes that's not quite what we want. So what I'm going to teach you today is a couple of ways that we can make things like that look a little bit nicer. Now, the first way to add a line here is to use what's called a line break. And a line break is just a fancy tag that puts a new line in. And the way we do that is with a new tag with the letters BR. Now, a line break tag is a bit special because we don't actually need to close it. It's just its own little thing. It doesn't have any content between two tags, so it's just its own little tag. And if I come up here and hit save, and I go back over here and I hit refresh, what you'll notice is that popped that on a whole new line. Now if I wanted a gap, like there is over here, I could put in 2 line breaks. Hit save again, and hit refresh, and it's added another line. And I can put as many lines in as I want there. I could have 3 if I was feeling very special. Hit save, hit refresh, and it's just going to keep adding new lines. Now I might want all my text on new lines. Every sentence I might want it on a new line. So I can put another line break there. Hit save and refresh, and that's popped that on a new line. So line breaks can be used to put a new paragraph in the same paragraph tag. Just because you have a paragraph here doesn't mean you can't have another paragraph. We might want to have 2 lots of paragraphs. And in here I might say, Mr. O'Neill has many hobbies. These include reading and building websites. Don't need my comma there. And if I hit save and refresh, I get a whole new paragraph. Now, your website or your browser will always put a break between your 2 paragraphs, no matter what. Okay, so you don't need to put a BR tag here. It does it for you. So that's one thing. We have our BR tags we can include to make our paragraphs a little bit nicer to read. The next thing that we can do is we can separate our headings. So my heading here is Mr. O'Neill. I can separate my headings from my content using something called a horizontal line. Now, a horizontal line is just a line that goes right across my web page, and it might separate 2 different sections of my web page. So here I have a main heading, Mr. O'Neill, and I might want to separate my main heading from the rest of the content. So over in my code, I'm going to come across, I'm going to find my main heading, my H1 here, and underneath that, I'm going to put an HR for horizontal line. And if I come up here and save that now, and come back over here and click refresh, it's going to pop in a line that goes right across. So now I've separated my main heading from all my content under here. Now, I have a main heading, and I have some content, but what might be a good idea is to have a couple of subheadings as well. So underneath my line, I'm going to put in a subheading. I'm going to find my line over here, I'm going to come under here, and I'm going to create a new heading. Now, H1 was for really important headings. This one's not quite as important, so I'm going to use H2. And I'll close my H2 before I forget. And in between those tags, I'm going to write, who is Mr. O'Neill? Question mark. And that's going to be my second heading. And I'm going to hit save. I'm hitting Control and S there, in case you were wondering. That automatically saves my file for me. Come back over here, and I'm going to hit refresh. And here's my subheading. Now I can use my horizontal lines everywhere throughout my my website. Doesn't have to be right after your main heading. You might want to put one at the very bottom of your website as well to make some lines to enclose all the information like this. So you can use those horizontal lines to keep information together or to separate other pieces of information. Now, the next part we're going to learn about is something called a center tag. Now, at the moment, all my text, you will notice, is on the left-hand side of my website. But sometimes I might not want my text on the left-hand side. I might want my main heading smack bang in the middle of my website here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my code. I'm going to find the part I want in the middle. So in this case, it's my main heading, my H1, and I'm going to put all of that, all this H1 code inside another set of tags. And this tag is called a center tag. And it looks like that. Now center tags we do need to close, because what we're telling our browser is that everything in between these two tags needs to go in the middle of our website. So if I come up here, hit save now that I've got my H1 Mr. O'Neill /H1 inside my center tags, if I hit refresh, my Mr. O'Neill pops over to the middle of the page. So you might want to align some of your text or maybe your headings in the middle of your page to make it look a little bit nicer. Now there's one more thing I'm going to show you, and this part is a little bit more complicated. We have a couple of paragraphs here. So Mr. O'Neill's a teacher, teaches year 6, his class is 6.0, and then I've got Mr. O'Neill has many hobbies. These include reading and building websites. Now I have a lot more hobbies, more than 2 definitely. So what I might want to do is put these in a list. Now there's a couple of ways you might want to do this, but the best way is to put them in what's called list tags, and they look a little bit like this. So I'm going to come back over to my code. I'm going to find my paragraph that's talking about my hobbies right here, and I'm going to, for the moment, just delete this sentence here. So I'm going to say Mr. O'Neill has many hobbies. Now under that, I want to put a list of all my hobbies, and I do that like this. I create a new tag called UL. Now UL stands for unordered list, because these aren't in any particular order. They're just going to be kind of like dot points. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to close my UL before I forget. Now inside my UL tags, I need to put a different kind of tag, and they look like this, LI. And in between my LI tags, I'm going to put one of my items that I would want in my list. So one of my hobbies was reading. So I'm going to put that inside my LI tag, and then I'm going to close my LI tag. And I might want to have a few different things in my list. So I might have another LI tag. And I said one of my other hobbies was building websites. And I'm going to close my second LI tag. Now I can have as many LI tags as I want in between these UL ones. So I might have another one. I'll put in here snowboarding. And one more hobby might be ultimate frisbee. So I've put a few, 1, 2, 3, 4 different hobbies in my list here. So I've got my UL, and I've got 4 different LIs inside my UL tags. Now what they look like is when I hit save, if you look over here, it pops them in a list. Now, a list is a great way of showing lots of short pieces of information. So in this case, I'm listing all my hobbies. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to have a play with those tags. So the new tags we've learnt today are our center tags. We've learnt our HR tag, that was our horizontal line, these lines up here. We've learned about our line break tags. These are the ones that pop a new paragraph in for us. And we've learnt about our list tags. Now the list ones are a little bit more complicated, but I'd like to see everybody having a go at creating some kind of list in their all about me websites that we're going to be building today. If you have any questions, as always, make sure you ask for some help. I'm more than happy to give you a little bit of extra assistance. Let's see what we can build using our new tags. Have fun.